Okay, so we're going to look at our Game of Life final project. So this is what we're going to do for our final project for this class. So we're going to do this over the next 3 weeks or so. So your goal for this week is to do, when I say parts 1 through 4, I mean when it says slide 1 career view, like it says right here in the middle of your page, that's part 1. So slides 1 through 4. I would at the same time be attempting to start your slides for your presentation, which we normally would have done in class. You're going to make a presentation. I may have you guys decide to record yourselves if possible. I haven't decided that yet or not. But you should make a full Google Slides presentation to go with it. So a lot of these things are things or almost all of these things are things we've already done in class. So if you already did some of this and you still have your previous presentations, all you're going to do is cut and paste some of those. So for the first part, your career overview, again, if you read the directions, you can pick what you actually think you're going to do. So if you really think you're going to become a plumber, or you're going to become an HVAC person, or you're going to become a flight attendant, then choose that. And if not, you can make this up completely hypothetical. So I made up one using myself, but had I gone and done something completely different. So I'm saying that I became a respiratory therapist with a 2-year degree from Columbus State. And I'm saying that this is happening. So think of your life in 10 years. So like your game of life, like you're playing the actual board game. So after 10 years after graduation, I'm going to make about $31 an hour. So if you look at this for slide number 2, you're going to take this part right here, you're going to pause, and you're going to go to the next page. So all of this I attached so you can follow along as well. So first, I in this case make hourly, so I make $31 an hour. Now, I do not have my income calculated yearly, so I'm just going to skip that. So in order to calculate your yearly income, you're going to take your hourly wage, which is $31 times 40 hours in a week, times 52 hours or 52 weeks in a year, my bad. That equals $64,480. So that is my baseline salary for this whole section. Now, in terms of monthly, I'm going to divide this by 12. So in terms of monthly, I make $5,373 a month. So that's like my baseline. So that goes back in my top box. Okay, then we're going to talk about Social Security and Medicare. So Social Security and Medicare are paid baseline. So unless you make more than $132,000 a year, you're going to pay 6.2% towards Social Security every single year. So I took my baseline salary, which was $64,480. I multiplied it by 0.062. Make sure you do your decimal correctly. That gave me $3,998. I just ignored the decimals because it's not really that important. And divided that by 12. So $333 a month. So I went back to my box and I put $333. Medicare is taken out for everyone at 1.45%. So I took my $64,480 and I multiplied it by 0.0145. And that gave me $935. And again, we're talking monthly. So I divided that by 12 and I got $78 a month. Now for the next two sections, which are your federal taxes and your state taxes, are a little bit more complicated just because you have to read this chart. So for my gross income, I made $64,000. If you look at the table over here, this basically means if you make between $39,000 and $84,000, you're sitting in that 22% bracket. For most of you, you're probably sitting in that bracket unless you became like an engineer or a doctor, in which you would make more than that. So like the next section would be you made between 84 and 160. That would put you in the 24% bracket. So my bracket is 22%. I'm going to take my salary times 0.22. That gives me $14,000 that I need to pay to the federal government every year, but divide that by 12. So that's about $1,182 monthly. For your Ohio taxes. So again, kind of using the same mentality, their chart is a little bit more complicated. They don't give it as a percentage. They give it as like portions. So if I made $64,480, that puts me between $43,000 and $86,000 in the chart. So I'm going to pay $967 plus a percentage of anything above that. So the first thing you need to do is to calculate how much money did you make over that. So that's why I did the 64 minus the 43,000. So I made an excess of 21,000 over their baseline. Then I multiplied that times the percentage. So the 0.03465, that's 728, but then you also pay the 967. So I know this one's a little bit confusing, so email me if you have any questions. But basically, if you look at, you add those together, that's where I got the 1695. And then again, we're paying monthly, so I divide by that by 12. So that averages out to about $141. So really not that much money towards your state taxes. So again, I went back and put all those same numbers in the chart. To figure out your total deductions, you're just going to take all of those and add them up. That's where I got the 1734. Ignore step 8 because I forgot that I already had you divide everything by 12. Okay, and then you're going to go back to your chart. You're going to add all of these up. That's where I got the 1734. And then you're going to subtract the 5373 minus that. So this tells me my net salary, meaning how much you actually end up with, is $3,639. So that's the salary one. That's probably your hardest part as for this week. Then in order to make the slides, you're going to follow these directions right here, and you're going to insert a pie chart into your presentation. I typed this up exactly how you're going to type it. And if you refer to my directions, the doc of the directions that I emailed to you, there is a link as to an example of what your slide should look like. So please be looking at that so that you can see what it looks like. Also then, so for your family description, this is all hypothetical. If you have an idea of what you want to do, whether you want to get married or don't want to get married and have kids or don't have kids, this is where you're going to put it down. Does this have to be in any way true? No. Yes, I do have 2 kids. Their names are Evan and Connor. I am married to Corey, but I changed it that I stayed living in Dayton and I got married so I don't have to be lonely. And yes, I said the kids are expensive. So just answer these things. It doesn't all have to be on this page, but you do need to put it in your slides. And then the last part, which is for slide number 4, you're literally going to go to this website, and then you're going to it's going to ask you what city you want to live in, and you don't have to stay in Columbus, but you can if you want. And then you change the number of adults and children, and it will calculate how much money that they're going to average that you're spending in general. So you're going to put this on your chart. Now, if you look, I don't know how to easily get to my slide presentation, but so that's like a brief overview for that. So email me if you have any questions, and please refer to my slides as to what yours should look like.